Hello everyone. I finally got a chance to use these lawn fawn sets that I had shown in a haul several weeks ago, and they've been sitting beside my desk ever since. So finally forced myself to set a little bit of time aside to use them because they're so cute. So I started with, this is the little Hedge Hugs stamp set, which is absolutely adorable. I had originally meant to make a Valentine's card with this, but I thought I would just make a I miss you sort of card, or just any occasion type of card, since Valentine's Day is now completely over. I took the two little hedgehogs from the set and stamped them onto some Copic quality 110-pound cardstock with My Favorite Things Black Licorice Hybrid ink. And I stamped the one little hedgehog twice and then the other one just once onto some scraps of the cardstock. And I started off coloring the little spines and then stopped myself and realized I wanted their little bodies to be colored first, because I'm not going to blend the little spines at all, obviously, because I want them to keep their little definition. So I didn't want to, it was just easier to color the bodies first. So I just used E30 to color their little bodies and just did all three at once. I think this is the first time I've actually used Lawn Fawn's images. I've loved them for years. I think my biggest thing is just not having the time to use all the stamps I want. So anyway, I love how they're just cute, simple little images, and yeah, just fun to use. So I started, like I said, with E30 for their bodies, and then I went in with E31 to add some little darker areas, and then finally E34 is my darkest. And then I went back with the E31 and just quickly blended that out a little bit. Really simple coloring. And then took my E30, my lightest, and blended those guys all together. So then their little bodies are nice and colored. And then I can go back to doing the little spines of their images. So I started with my darkest this time. I'm using E49 and just flicking it towards me. That's it. Super simple. Kind of following where the lines are, but then also adding in extra ones here and there, kind of doing little almost like V's, and then just individual little flicks. Super simple. So once I did the darkest, I went in with E47, did the exact same thing, and just kind of filled in some of the white areas, and then finally took E44 and did my last little bit and left some white areas as well. Because if you look at an actual little hedgehog, they actually have kind of white tips to their little spines. So I wanted to leave some white areas, and that was it. Super simple. And then just trim these guys out with my detail scissors. There is an actual little set of dies that you can get with this, which I will link to. I don't know why I didn't order them, because I like having the dies that match the stamps just because it's quicker. Even though a little set like this, it doesn't take very long to fussy cut. But I know so many people that have so much trouble using small scissors or doing detailed cutting, arthritis, different things, which I'm sure down the road as I get older, I'm going to have those issues as well. But I didn't get the dies. Don't know why, because they're cheap too. I think the set of dies with the stamps is $10 maybe. Anyway, I fussy cut them out. Didn't take that long. And then I'm going to go on to my little card front here. And I've got some MFT snow cone cardstock. And then I had some green room cardstock that I die cut with the My Favorite Things Grassy Edges Die-namics. So I'd run that through my machine. And then I made all these little clouds with the MFT Flat Bottom Clouds Die-namics and ran those through several times with some white cardstock so I can create my little scene for these guys. So kind of laid out everything kind of how I wanted it. And once I was kind of happy with the placement, I'm going to start adhering it all down. So I'm just using my Tombow Mono Multi adhesive to adhere all these clouds, and I'm just going to let them hang off the edge before I trim everything off, just to create a fun little scene. And once I get those all adhered into place, I'm going to adhere the little grassy area. So I kind of switched how I wanted the clouds to go because I wanted more clouds. So get those all in place and then adhere the grass that I had die cut. I thought for a second about popping it up on foam tape, but then decided against it because I'm going to pop up the images and whatnot on foam tape. So adhered that flat to the snow cone cardstock. And that piece of cardstock is just shy of 3.5 by 4 7/8. So it's 1/8 of an inch shy of being that size, because I wanted to make a 4-bar size card for these images. I thought it would just be, I really like that size. It's something different than A2, and it also gives kind of smaller images. It makes them more, stand out more, I guess. Anyway, once I was done adhering everything, I just flipped that over and used my Martha Stewart scissors to trim off all the clouds hanging over the edge. And then I've got this Chit Chat stamp set. I'd got this at the same time as the hedgehogs. Another really cute little set. But yeah, just looking at it and I saw that I Miss You stamp and I had to use it, as well as this little flower image that comes with that set. So I inked up the flower with My Favorite Things Ripe Raspberry Pigment ink. And I'm just stamping it onto the little grassy area. So then they've got some cute little pink flowers they're standing among. And then I had a scrap of ripe raspberry cardstock that I wanted to stamp the little speech bubble on. So I used my anti-static powder tool first and just coated the cardstock with that. And then I just used the same ripe raspberry pigment ink, because it doesn't matter. You can use Versamark, white pigment ink, whatever pigment ink you have on hand. Since I'm planning on embossing it with white, it didn't matter what color I stamped it with. So since it was handy, I just used the ripe raspberry ink and then poured on my detail white embossing powder and flicked off the excess. And then I'm going to melt that with my heat tool. I let it heat up for like 15-30 seconds before I bring it to the cardstock. It just helps kind of minimize any warping. Not usually too big of a concern with a small area like this, but it just makes things work better, I guess. And then same thing, I just use my detail scissors. This set also has a set of dies that can be purchased along with it, that'll die cut everything, and I didn't get that either. Don't ask me why. I can't even explain how my brain functions some days. So I just fussy cut it, which was simple. Ones like that especially, because it's just like speech bubble type images, very simple to trim out yourself, so you don't have to have the dies if you don't need them or want them. But yeah, trim that out, and then this is where I decided to pop all these little guys up with some foam tape. So got them into place and then added foam tape to the little speech bubble and decided where I wanted to put that on my card. And then for the card base, like I said, it was a 4-bar size card. So I had a piece of cardstock that was cut down to 3.5 by 9 3/4. And then I just line it up to the 4 7/8 inch mark on my paper trimmer, just because my little scoreboard doesn't have a score line at that measurement. And then I used my Teflon bone folder, which when I do use it, I always rave about it and wonder how I lived without it all these years of crafting. So yeah, scored it, made sure to press the fold really good and flat with the Teflon folder. And then I'm going to add more foam tape to the back of this little snow cone front, because I thought I might as well pop that up too while I'm at it, because yeah, me and the foam tape, once I start using it, I can't stop. So pop that up on some foam tape, peeled it all off, and then I'm going to adhere that to my little card base. So then once that's all adhered, I'm going to go on and finish the inside of the card, and this is where that little third hedgehog is going to go. And then I'm going to use the sentiment that came in the hedgehogs stamp set, because that's the one I just think that is the cutest little sentiment, and of course it's just perfect. So ink that up with the black licorice hybrid ink and stamped that. And then I took the little heart from the Chit Chat set and inked that up with the ripe raspberry pigment ink and kind of stamped it above where the little hedgehog, I keep wanting to say hedgehog, is going to go. And then just use my Tombow Mono Multi and add some adhesive to that little guy, and I'm going to adhere him into place. And that finishes off the card. So there will be links below the video to the supplies used, to my blog post, my Twitter, Facebook, all those things. So if you're interested in any of that info, just check out the description box below the video. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping my videos. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye.